ProLifeWaco, has apparently caught Planned Parenthood of Waco with its, I want to start to say pants down, but I don't guess that's a good analogy. Let's bring in Dr. John Pashada. Hi, John.
Oh, hello. You're not supposed to make me laugh as you introduce the segment, Lynn. But
well, I'm sorry. It's just one of those things that Luann wasn't able to catch in time and hit me over the head with.
I like to say I think we have them cornered.
That's probably a much better analogy.
Yeah.
And the situation is, very briefly, now we'll expound on it somewhat,
Sure.
but if a young girl, underage, under 16, comes into Planned Parenthood pregnant, seeking an abortion, there's only one way that young girl hasn't been statutorily raped, and that is if she is married, right?
Well, actually, if the girl is 13 and under, that's automatic statutory rape. If the girl is 14, 15, or 16, and her boyfriend is 3 or more years older than her, that is statutory rape. If the boyfriend is just a couple years older than her, then it would not be. But the reports that are mandated by the state of Texas, it doesn't just relate to abortion. When a 13-year-old girl comes in for birth control pills
or sexually transmitted disease
or STDs, that's also an automatic mandated report.
All right, so our buddy at Planned Parenthood, Pam Smallwood, would then have to pick up the phone, or she would probably have to fill out a form of some sort and let who know? The state of Texas?
Well, any law enforcement agency.
The Waco police would work?
The Waco police would work, and that's one where we investigated under the Open Records Act their call log to the Waco Police Department. Actually, the most typical way would be not to fill out a form with a pen or a pencil and not to call law enforcement, but to go online and fill out a form online to the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. They have that mechanism set up. And so that is, in spite of what the executive director of Planned Parenthood stated in the Waco Trib, that is the typical way of reporting, because you wouldn't know what jurisdiction for sure this young woman would be in. So you would, well, do I call the Lorena Police Department? Do I call the Temple Police Department? Well, if you report to Child Protective Services, then they sort that out.
All right, and I before I ask you this next question, I just want to point out to people listening around the state, if you have a Planned Parenthood facility in your neighborhood, say one in the Bryan College Station area or the Midland, Odessa area, it would be, I think, John, quite interesting for people such as yourself in some of these other areas to make some of these same checks.
Well, actually, yes. We've already got I'm in contact with people from Colorado, and the Colorado Right to Life organization is going to be doing an open records check for the state of Colorado with regard to reporting of statutory rape.
All right, and that's how you found out the information that they were not reporting these.
Right. We hired an investigator, and anyone I do encourage people to make this investigation, but I also please give me a call. Well, let's see. You've got a link to our website, I think, ProLifeWaco.org. But it would be best not to make the inquiry yourself, but to have a third party do it for a variety of reasons. You know, if ProLifeWaco had made this inquiry, well, it would have set off all kinds of alarms, and they would be holding back, and they hold back on anyway. Even though there's Open Records Act, they're just not trying to divulge everything. And so we actually have a firm in Ohio that did this for us. And so it's best to do that and to make the inquiry in a way that gets the information that you need without setting off alarms. And if you have someone on the other side that is a pro-abortion, secular, progressive, they might not dig in their heels so much. Yeah,
we file those little pesky information requests fairly often ourselves.
Yeah,
and usually that's with a governmental organization. Is Planned Parenthood they are under that particular law? Why? Because they take taxpayer money.
Because there are a healthcare organization that is hugely funded by government. They get Title X family planning money from the federal government, and it's very explicit in there that in order to qualify to receive this money, you must comply with all relevant state and federal laws.
Now, John, let me ask you this: when these young girls come in, assuming the ones that are seeking abortions, is it that Planned Parenthood wants to sell them that abortion? Because Planned Parenthood is an abortion seller. Am I right?
Absolutely. Planned Parenthood, since 1994 in Waco, has exterminated 12,000 unborn babies. So it's a $400 transaction for them. And there was a young lady, Lila Rose from UCLA, who pretended to be 15 and went in with her boyfriend pretending he was 23. And they stated that information, and they were coached and encouraged to lie about their age.
And that was at UCLA.
That was at UCLA. This is just a story of, I think this happened last May, and it's got a lot of play.
Well, and I want to mention, too, WorldNet Daily is covering this story and has, July 26th, had a major article on this, which I have a copy of. Here's my question. I've got a couple of big ones here. Number one, is this a scandal that could break nationwide?
Yes, it is a scandal. Well, it already is breaking nationwide.
No, it's on WorldNet Daily. It's certainly not in the Dallas Morning
Snooze.
Snooze.
Not just our part of it, but the other parts, like the Attorney General of Kansas and these undercover interviews and our open records requests. And so the record is out there, and if it investigated and shows reports, in our case, there are only 3 reports per year to the Waco Police Department on average. But let me just give you one little vignette from this. Somehow there must have been an employee employed in 2004 that was complying with the law, and in 2004 there were 13 reports from Planned Parenthood Waco. There were 6 of those reports in March, and actually 3 of those reports on a single day of March 8th. Well, if there was all that reporting going on in March, why not the previous years? I mean, it just does not add up.
All right. Now, here's another big question, John. Pam Smallwood is the director. I'm sure there are many other employees and volunteers.
There certainly
What
are.
is going to happen? Is there going to be a civil suit filed? Is there criminal activity here? Could any of these people go to jail? Could Planned Parenthood in Waco be shut down over this? What's going to happen?
Well, I am in touch with attorneys that I will be talking to in a couple of days, so I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm eager to find out how this might be pursued. I don't think anybody's going to go to jail as a result of this. There could be a loss of funding for Planned Parenthood, and then politically, there are efforts, even introduced in the National Congress, to defund Planned Parenthood.
It's about time.
This is not a typical healthcare organization.
It's an abortion seller.
Abortion seller and a promiscuity promoter. They're a free sex organization. And so this kind of news and this kind of reality, I think, will impress on some legislators that this is not the kind of organization we ought to be channeling your tax dollars and mine and your listeners'. That we ought to be challenging their tax dollars.
All right. Well, we are out of time, and we'll have to leave it there. Keep up the good work, and keep me informed, and we'll keep covering this story.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, Lynn.
Bye, John. Dr. John Pashada, ProLifeWaco, Baylor economics professor. This is a big story. It's a big story, and if you've got a Planned Parenthood in your area, you ought to file that Freedom of Information request, and then let me know what you find out. We'll be back.